From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update in 2021. In this recording, we go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are now getting ready for the final vote. We'll be going over the $3.5 trillion recon passed in the House subcommittee no less than 2 weeks ago. We go over all the incredible clusters of checks that are in this recon. Cluster number one, hazard pay. Cluster number two, home repairs. Cluster number three, money for seniors. And guess what? $25,000 of additional checks, direct payments to you, are being proposed to be added to that recon. I go over all the incredible deliciousness at afternoon. So then we cut to the big surprise as student loan debt forgiveness heating up as more student loan debt forgiven and more now be proposed to be forgiven. Then we go to the big surprises as the president's poll ratings are falling. So he's trying to get this recon done as quickly as possible. I have the latest details at noontime. And then we cut to the big exciting news as the Democrats are pushing for those IRS stimulus checks to go in there as well. I go in over the details of what's happening with that and more. And then we cut back to the exciting details of this stimulus with COLA announced today for SSI recipients and Social Security. But guess what? That's just the start of fifth stimulus, because we also got third stimulus, and I'm going to show you how you get upwards of $80,000 this week as well. It's a big afternoon, and it starts right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. The weather has been perfect along the coast here in Santa Monica, California. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, so much incredible great news, including that additional $25,000 that has been proposed to be added in that recon on top of the $3.5 trillion that has so far been passed. Hazard pay, money for home repairs, totally free, and new world exclusive about where Medicare is going to be going under this recon. Some of the items are gonna stayed, and then more items could be added in. I'll go over all the latest details, and now Chuck Schumer speaking out and saying, I want to put a monthly stimulus check in there as well. Then we cut to the big exciting details as student loan debt forgiveness heats up. New details coming out about the president's approval rating as that falls dramatically. He's trying to get the recon done as soon as possible, and we now have a voting date set for this recon. Those incredible details and more, and plus third stimulus and fifth stimulus. And this is Afternoons LA. So subscribe. A 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Overnights Crypto, and then Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. Our new hit show, Evenings Countdown, at 6. Stream Stimulus at 7, and then Sirloin at 8. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut to all the incredible details, starting with the first three clusters, that $25,000 cluster, and those IRS stimulus checks as well. Well, 2 weeks ago, a House subcommittee passed your $3.5 trillion recon, and they got in there cluster number one, which starts with this. Hazard pay got in there. $4,000 for elder care in there as well. This is huge. And how does this work? First, they got hazard pay in there by broadening the earned income tax credit so more people qualify for it, and then increasing the amount of money for those essential workers. Then up to $4,000 a year to care for elders. Then up to $4,000 a year to care for a young child. They got free home repairs in there if you live in a low-income community. Then college grants directly to the university, to the student, and then the Pell's grant made tax-free. $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks got in there as well. The CTC broadened the eligibility and increasing the payout. This is up to $300 a month every month for up to 18 years. That child is in a low-income household. That's $51,000 per child. Then they got money in there for bikes, cars and trucks. All electric and all U.S. manufactured. First, up to 15% of the purchase price of a new electric bike. Then, $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Personal use, a little bit more for business use. And then a little bit more for an electric truck. Well, there you go. But the big one that everyone saw that it's coming yesterday and everyone talking about is the $25,000 that no one saw coming. That $25,000 is shocking. Sherrod Brown, Maxine Waters, and Raphael Warnock introduced legislation yesterday that would be introduced and merged into the RECON that would provide $25,000, up to $25,000 cash, hard, cold cash in your hand to go buy a house. This is upfront money to go buy a house. How does it work? What is the eligibility? So far, it looks like the only eligibility criterion are first-time home buyers. Competing legislation was also introduced by Ron Wyden that would give you $15,000 on the back end. Clearly, Maxine Waters is the better provision. With that, let's go to the second cluster of checks, which are absolutely deliciousness, and these include more free home repairs and paid leave. You got to remember that this RECON is for all Americans, red and blue states, SSI, SSDI, single individuals, people all across the board. And what's important to remember is that it's not COVID related. They'll include the expansion of paid family and medical leave. How much does it pay? $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year, split in half. $800 a week if you make $400, if you make $35,000 a year. $15,000 annual salary, that would be $400 a week. Pay family leave, you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Pay medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. Then they got money in there for tax credits, for the home, house, child care programs, more money for seniors coming up also in the third cluster, and then checks to weatherize your home. Always need to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, always make sure you weatherize your home to keep the moderate Democrats out of the House. And wherever possible, weatherize your Senate to keep them out of the Senate. There we go. They also got other checks into the second cluster, which include tuition-free community college and free pre-kindergarten. Tuition-free community college definitely needed for everyone that wants to take that class called What the World is LATE Saying? 101. It's for the people who says Los Angeles is a foreign language. Now you could be fluent in that class called LALATE 202. There we go. In a second, we go over the third cluster, a check, and also the IRS stimulus checks. But what is Congress doing? Congress is setting it for a vote. The RECON will be worked on by members of Congress all this week in subcommittee, not on the House floor, not on the Senate floor. And then they got a vote set. The vote would be by October 31st. Now notice the key word in that sentence, by. All last weekend, every time I said bye, someone said, how can they vote on Halloween? I just said bye Halloween. Well, how can they vote on Halloween? They don't have a costume. How do you know they're not always in costume? Do you really think that's really their actual hair? I don't know. There we go. Now let's cut to the third cluster of checks. Now, reality check. When you're looking at everything for the first, second, and third clusters of checks before we even get to the $25,000 to buy a new home or the IRS stimulus checks, viewers of this channel will get upwards of about an average of $15,000 from these third cluster checks. I've been doing this a while and I know the numbers. And when I did third stimulus, I said it was about $15,000. I undervalued it. It was about $40,000 most viewers got from third stimulus. This package looks like it's about $15,000 just to start, but could go higher. Let's turn to the third cluster checks that got in there, and I got a world exclusive about this one as well. Here we go. We got checks in there for seniors and free internet. Wow, this is huge. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for free internet. Then they got checks for workers and checks for seniors, dental, vision, and hearing care, and lowering eligibility age of Medicare, which brings me to the next world exclusive. The world exclusive delivered from this channel is that insiders tell this channel that the eligibility age they're looking at dropping Medicare is from 65 to 60. Wow. And with that, those are the 33 clusters of checks passed in a $3.5 trillion recon in the House subcommittee. Now, they're also proposing to add in there IRS monthly stimulus checks. Those IRS monthly stimulus checks would have the same eligibility as third stimulus. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you would get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you would get it, double it. Family of four, and if you're on SSI, you would get it as well. This is federal. This is not state. Now, what's going on? We have a recon. The recon with these three clusters passed in a House subcommittee, but it's not a bill. It's not a bill, and it's not yet to the House floor. When it's introduced to the House floor, they can add those stimulus check provisions in there. If they don't, we have a backup. First, the House members can amend the bill and add it in there. Second backup is the senators. The senators would vote last. I've been exclusively reporting for several weeks, and those senators have a 2-day event called a vote-a-rama. The vote-a-rama is the very, very last step of the entire process. So whatever the senators receive from the House, if it's not in there, they can amend. And guess who says he's going to add a monthly stimulus check provision in there? No, not that guy. Try again. Yes, Chuck Schumer. I knew you were going to say Bernie, but I'm saying Chuck Schumer. In addition to Bernie and Liz and Coons and Sanders and Warren and Schumer. Yeah, Schumer is the big one because this is what Schumer said going into the weekend, last weekend, and what his office said the week before, that he will be adding a provision in there. This is huge because who determines when the vote-a-rama happens? Chuck Schumer. Who determines what is called for a vote during the vote-a-rama? Chuck Schumer. And who is the majority leader of the Senate? Chuck Schumer. Meantime, Bernie Sanders' office continued to praise this channel and praising you, and this is a message delivered by one viewer after her conversation with a top aide at Bernie Sanders' office. Through yesterday, which was last Friday, Sanders' office has received 1 million contacts from the viewers of the Purple Power and the LALATE viewers. 1 million of you have reached out to Sanders' office. The advocacy has been making big waves in the Congress. This is the first time many of these officials and their staff have truly heard from the people, and now they not only have heavy hearts, but a renewed sense of urgency to help out those of us in need. Our advocacy has been so strong, so heartfelt, and so polite, and not just for ourselves, but also for the community. This is as they're protecting the recon, and that no items in there are getting reduced or removed. So said the progressives last week. What were they saying this week? I have the latest details after the commercial break. Meantime, they say the changes will be taxes and duration. Elsewhere, we're going to go over what the Democrats have said to the viewers of this channel with those monthly stimulus checks. Sanders, Schumer, Warren, Casey, and Wyden is saying they're added it in there, along with AOC, Omar, and Jalapal. This is on top of the recon that is worth about $15,000 for viewers of this channel, on top of the $25,000 to buy a new home that's being added in there. Yeah, we got a lot of money in this recon. And I'll show you how to get this big money as well. Also how to get money this week from third stimulus, upwards of $80,000. And we'll be cutting back over to fifth stimulus as well. But first, here's a commercial break and a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. They're Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, direct from Santa Monica, as a big, bold, beautiful afternoon's LA heats up. We'll go over more about that exciting details of that $25,000 that's being added to those incredible clusters. Meantime, we'll be going over whether they're changing anything at all or everything that's staying in there is in there. That'll pay viewers from these three clusters about $15,000. Then we'll be turning to those monthly stimulus checks that those senators and House members represent. They're adding in there. Then we'll be turning to how to get big money from first and second and third stimulus. Viewers getting upwards of $80,000 every week. I'm going to show you how to get this big money as well. We have a new announcement about COLA. Your benefits are going up next year. This is before they get their stimulus done. Boy, all very exciting and all very interesting. And then we'll be going back to that vote for that recon. We got a lot coming up, and it's just getting started. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto at 3:45, then Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. We go into our new hit show, Evenings Countdown, at 6 o'clock, Stream Stimulus at 7, and Sirloin at 8. So subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. And with that, let's cut back to the big surprise that no one saw coming. The praise for this channel from Bernie Sanders' office. Sanders' top aide tells a viewer of this channel that your advocacy has something they have never seen before. This is big because guess what's going on? What's going on is legislators are being bombarded with lobbyists trying to add things to the recon and get things taken out. Sanders' office says they have never seen anything like the LA viewers. Over 1 million calling and advocating, and now it's making waves among the congressional halls. A new report released over the weekend shows what's at issue. What's at issue is the following, is that lobbyists for different special interest groups are trying to get things added to the recon at the 11th hour. And lobbyists are trying to protect things that are currently in there. Those comments came from a new report that was released in which the author, whose name was Lisa Rice, President and CEO of the National Fair Housing Alliance, says, we have all the coalitions of industry groups beating down the door of the White House to make sure their provisions of the recon. That's why we're advocating for our money as well. Let's go over what advocacy looks like and what advocacy has done and what advocacy is doing going forward. We have this incredible recon that's $3.5 trillion, and they can still add things to it. It's not a bill, it's a package. And in fact, Nancy Pelosi, the President of the United States, said add stuff to it if you want to. What's important to understand, two places to add stuff, House or Senate. And so you want to make sure you have both the House members in your corner and the senators in your corner. Senators go last, the 2-day vote enrollment at the very end, where they can add stuff in there. House members also can add it now, before it becomes a bill, or even after it becomes a House bill, but before the House vote starts. 8 weeks ago, I said, pick up the phone and advocate, and WR did. He picked up the phone and advocated. It's called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant, advocated for the inclusion of a stimulus check. And Senator Chris Coons' office said, yes, we're putting that in there. Then 3 weeks ago, you saw this channel deliver a lot of exclusives. Number one, I told you that the recon would be written on the House side and in the House subcommittee. It was. Sheila Jackson, the number 2 progressive in the House, wrote it and called it for a vote on that Saturday night in the House subcommittee. Number 2, I told you the Senate would vote last on the recon. They will be. And that Bernie Sanders is important to the equation. 3 weeks ago, Bernie Sanders made that pivotal quote where he said, unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm doing a recon. If you listen to the key words, he's saying, I want to hear from you and advocate. And I said, pick up the phone and advocate. And Brother Joshua did, Lynn Glenn and Margaret did, picked up the phone and advocated to Bernie Sanders' office 3 weeks ago when I first mentioned it. Now let's go over what advocacy is and what advocacy isn't. Advocacy is telling your particular story. You're like a lobbyist, just like the restaurant union or the airline union lobbying Congress to add provisions to the recon. You're advocating, saying why I need the money. Advocacy starts with a series of sentences, all that end in periods, no question marks, explaining your financial situation, your medical situation, your family situation. I need the money because of the divorce I just went through. I need the money because of my legs, the surgery I just had. I need it because of my business, my town, my community, my church. This is what happened to them. I need to tell you. Bernie Sanders' office was so impressed by you and expressing that they had never seen advocacy like this. This is what I trained the viewers of this channel about. That when you picked up the phone and called elected officials, they won't know your town, your community, may have never heard of it, but they'll certainly understand your story. And that's what advocacy looks like. Because everyone has a unique story. Bring your story and tell it to as many congressmen as you can. What's not advocacy? Non-advocacy is only asking questions. When's the vote? When's the date? When's the bill? Can I see the bill? Is it in the bill? When is it added? Who is getting it? When will it go out? Can I change my Direct Express card? What date? Where? How? Blue? Green? No. That's Dora the Check Explorer. No, that doesn't get you anywhere except a big no answer because it's just tracking something that's not yet in there. Advocacy is what gets things in there and over the finish line. And that's what Brother Joshua did. He picked up the phone and called Bernie Sanders' office and advocated for himself, his family, his church, and you. And boy, did it work, because that's what Sanders' office said 3 weeks ago. Yes, I'm putting that stimulus check provision in there. Yes, $1,000 or $1,300, 3 to 6 months, but I need to hear your advocacy. And that's when I said pick up the phone and advocate again and call Sanders' office. And here come the screen grabs from viewers from the live chat or from private message social media. Here comes Donnie. You met his wife. Here's Donnie himself. I called Bernie Sanders and his secretary and told her what I need. My city needs it. I need it to progress. I need it for my water and everything. And they said, yes, they're putting it in there. Hurricane Tina advocated. And so did Carolyn Smith, who advocated and wrote, I told them people are losing their homes and everything they got. We need it. And here is, and Bernie's office saying, yes, it's going in there, just like they told Hurricane Tina. And here is Purple Power Yaya, who called up Ron Wyden, advocate as well, and being told it's going in there. It's important to understand that at that point I said, you need to tell your message to as many Congress people as possible, because it's a narrative that needs to be told and heard. And that's what Will did. He called 3 offices, Bernie, Chuck, and Schumer, and Liz Warren. And all 3 secretaries confirmed the inclusion. He said, I explained my situation and why I need it. And Liz Warren saying she's going to do it, $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Here comes Lorica. She contacted Bob Casey's office and advocated for it as well. And Casey's office said, yes, it's going in there. By that point, 1 million calls to Bernie Sanders' office and thousands of viewers telling me they got confirmation from Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden that a monthly IRS stimulus check provision will be included after they advocated for it. Then the same messages started coming in from the House side, AOC Omar, Jalapal, and Pelosi with Mark. Here's Mark. Called up Pelosi's office, advocated for that inclusion, and Pelosi's office said, yes, going to be doing it to $1,000, actually be $1,400 to $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. And the negotiations are near complete. And then last Friday, Debbie Applegate getting confirmation from 3 offices, Schumer, Sanders, and Warren. That's after the wonderful Donnie's wife got the same message the week before. And that is what advocacy gives you. Advocacy starts here because, remember, it's a battle for inclusion and protection of the recon. 1, people are trying to protect what's in the recon. Number 2, people are trying to push to get stuff added to the recon. And number 3, people who have stuff on the recon are worried they're getting their items removed. We have a recon that's at a $3.5 trillion price tag, but everyone's trying to get it down to the $2 trillion price range. Well, all last week, the progressives said every item that's in there is staying in there, no items getting reduced. But is that true? I'll explain in a second. And then they can make changes to duration and taxes, they say. So how does that work? Let's go over all the details. First, all the progressives last week said if a provision is in the recon, it's staying in the recon, and we can still add provisions. Well, not every progressive was so confident about that, as Maxine Waters last weekend released a stern statement saying, I got $300 billion of rent aid in the recon, and I'm worried it's going to get reduced or removed. Now, $300 billion is very, very rich, because under third stimulus, it was only $47 billion. She's looking for $300 billion. Would the whole number stay at that number? She's worried the whole thing is going to get removed. So she issued a stern warning saying, protect everything that stays in there. Now, how do they bring a recon from $3 trillion down to the $2 trillion range without removing any program and without watering down the price tag of the payout of the program. Two ways: duration and taxes. Duration is the easiest way, and it was about a week ago where I said they can do this by duration, and then Paul confirmed my exclusive report a few days later. How did I know this? It's very, very simple, because Bernie did this before. He told us about this. I'm going to show you simple numbers so you understand it, not exactly how it worked, but I'm going to show you generally how it operated. Bernie Sanders, before we had a recon, went into those negotiations with the Senate Democrats saying, I want to do a recon. Oh, you do, Bernie? How big a recon do you want? 7 trillion. Oh, you crazy, Bernie? We're not doing 7 trillion. Get another number. Okay, I'll cut the program's duration and we'll do it for 3.5 trillion. Done. Deal. Passed in the House, passed in the Senate. That became the recon procedural, became a law. What did he do? He cut the duration of how long the programs run. He didn't remove a program. He didn't water down the program. He just had the program run less years. Here's an example, just in numbers. I'm not saying this is the way it happened. I'm just showing you an example of numbers, how Bernie may have done it and how they can do it going forward. $4,000 of elder care every year. You got it? Okay. Let's say Bernie went to those negotiations for $7 trillion, asking for it to run for 20 years, a 20-year program. Meaning every year that you're eligible, you would get up to $4,000 a year. Pretty simple. Then they said, oh, we're not doing $7 trillion. Okay, I'll do the programs. I'll take all the programs that are 20 years. I'll split them in half at 10 years. Done. Deal. $3.5 trillion. Suddenly, it's a $4,000 elder care program for 10 years. Now that they're looking at $3.5 trillion, how did they get it smaller? Cut the duration again. So instead of 10 years, do, let's say, 5 years on all the programs. And that would be 5 years of $4,000 of elder care. And how much does that make the price tag? Well, half of 3.5 is 1.7. That's a magic number. Every modern Democrat would do the number. Done. Very, very simple. Now, there's another way they can do it on the back end, which is taxes. A little bit complicated. They want to potentially raise less taxes among the corporate taxes and the wealth tax, but they're worried they'll send a mixed message because they're trying to close loopholes. Here's what you need to know is with about 19 days to go, everyone's battling to add things in there, take things out. And even when a bill is debuted, eventually, it is not the etch of the stone. It's not a stone and concrete because the House can still modify whatever bill is presented before they vote on it. And then we got the 2-day vote-around on the Senate side at the very end. People often take things out or add things in or modify the numbers. All right, now let's go to the incredible surprise about student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debt forgiveness got a big surprise as the president's Department of Education and Labor forgave more student loan debt. First, they initially forgave student loan debt if the individual became disabled. Then, they're now forgiving student loan debt if you became an employee in a nonprofit company for 10 years after graduation or worked for a state or local or federal government for 10 years after you graduated. They'll forgive your student loan debt completely. The president has now indicated he'll forgive $10,000 of student loan debt. He's considering still the option of $50,000. This is as the president's poll numbers are dropping dramatically. Why? Because they say no one knows what's in the recon, except LA viewers. A new series of polls say the president's drop is alarming, and they credit it to the fact that no one knows what's in it, says Longwell and also Democratic strategist Simon Rosenberg, saying the president's decline is alarming, it's very serious. That's a sense of urgency to get the recon done. Now let's turn to what's going on with third stimulus, and then over to fifth stimulus. Well, fifth stimulus got a big surprise today, which is that while fifth stimulus starts to heat up and goes for a potential vote in December, COLA got its announced increase for next year. As you know, currently your benchmark is COLA. It's a very bad benchmark because it doesn't usually go up. And COLA is expected to now go up about 5%. Whoa, wait a second. About 5%. So if you're a beneficiary, your benefits are expected to go up about 5% next year. Does it sound familiar? It should. I told you that if they used inflation as your new benchmark, then your SSI and SSDI reform under fifth stimulus would go up about 5%. How dead on spot was I on that number? Now, while I said COLA is bad, why is it bad that it went up 5%? Because many say that COLA should have been going up a lot more all along. That it's just sort of kicking in a bad inflationary year. So let's go over that fifth stimulus. First, they'll raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Real benefits under this fifth stimulus program, which they're hoping to get to a vote by December. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark will be inflation, replacing COLA. And how high is inflation going? Well, I was saying 5%. Now they got COLA at 5%. So the inflation number is just really going wacko. I had been saying 5% for about 2-3 months. Now many believe that maybe the inflation rate in the market is currently 5%. So they think inflation could go even higher by December. Remember, we're sort of doing a date game here. So if they get this done by December, it could still change your benefits for next year. If they don't get it by December, then it'll start impacting the benefits shortly thereafter. Then they'll remove they'll remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away. They'll remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And then the marriage penalty will end, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. And there you go. Now let's turn over to third stimulus. Third stimulus is really exciting. Get a pen and paper and cell phone ready, because guess what? An additional $13 billion has gone out to cities, counties, and states for rent. And I told viewers to read that newsletter, look at the part about Treasury in the newsletter, and pounce. And look what happened last week. Prina, she started the week at 0 and she ended the week at $6,000 of rent because of my recordings. She now has rent for 8 months into 2022. She says, thank you, LA. She's in the city of Austin. So get that pen paper ready right now. We get some money for rent, utilities, food, and internet. First, we're going to get some money for and we're going to get other items like we're going to get appliances, we're going to get some clothing, we're going to get a lot of stuff in just a second. Get that pen, paper, cell phone ready. First, I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. Next, listen to the keywords in this video. Number 3, get ready for the nonprofits. All right, here we go. Here are the 6 places to reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. And there you go. How much money is the rent going to? Well, it was $20,000 for Nisi all the way to $27,000 for Elizabeth about a month ago. Now, Jen and other people are getting upwards of $40,000 for rent. Next, I want you to get utilities. So if you have 5 utility companies, reach out to all 5. Utility numbers have now grown astronomically. They're at about $15,000 right now. Then when we talk about SNAP, look at the SNAP. It's huge. SNAP was this, and now it's going to $21,000 to $26,000. Mark's brother-in-law getting $26,000 for SNAP. What is SNAP? SNAP is money for food. Where you get Department of Agriculture, reach out to them and get it. And everyone's SNAP benefits are going up an average of 25% a lifetime, automatically nationwide, starting in October. Then I want you to get multiple combo items. So if you apply for one, go get another item. Here's several viewers who got $32,000. Here's Mark who got $51,000. Here's Lorraine who got $110,000. She's getting more money even today. Finally, the nonprofits. Well, those nonprofits are incredible. I'm going to show you 5 nonprofits. If you have an eligibility problem with the city, county, and state for rent or utilities, then lean on the nonprofits. Here are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. They pay for the same items that are in third stimulus, but with different eligibility. What's also great is they pay for items that are not in any of these stimulus packages, like homeless people into shelters. Also, clothing, small appliances like refrigerators, furnaces, and also portable heaters they paid for viewers of this channel. Also, sometimes small window repairs they did for one viewer as well. They pay for a lot of items. And then finally, the Salvation Army. Remember, they do holiday gifts in October. Now, they get them out in October for Christmas. Here again are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, on unemployment benefits. Yes, coming back from your state due to overpayment and computer error, that average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. Reach out to state to get it. And then the refund check from the federal government for the 2020 unemployment benefits you pay taxes on. Yes, that's coming out. The average payment on that is $1,200 to $2,000. Reach out and get it. Margaret got it, God got it, Michael got it. If you got any of these sums of money, post in the live chat, because when you do, you inspire other people. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. Early in this video, I showed you and said to you that of the 3 clusters in this recon that are heading to the finish line so far, those will pay most for the viewers of this channel about $15,000. Under third stimulus, when it became law, I said I can get you about $15,000. On average, I've gotten most viewers of this channel about $40,000 from third stimulus. Now, you may have thought third stimulus was just a $1,400 stimulus check. Maybe you just found this channel. No. Viewers of this channel have been getting $40,000, $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 from third stimulus. That's the benefit of becoming a member. The newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is free to sign up for. That's also in the video. And it features all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus. When fourth stimulus becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get this upwards of $15,000 before the other items that are also being proposed, like the $25,000 to buy a home, and these other items like the proposed IRS stimulus checks. I'm going to show you how to get all these items across the board. But for now, you can go into the weekend with more money. I've had several viewers who started the week with nothing, and by the middle of the week, 3 of them got $40,000. By the weekend, 1 continued, and his name was Johnny. And with 7 items, he got $80,000. So do that as well. Meantime, let's go over and recap what's coming up next. What's coming up next is that Congress is dealing with a proposed deadline, calling the vote for the recon and the roads and bridges by October 31st, not on October 31st, but by October 31st. Giving them about 19 days to make final changes to the recon. Remember, if you advocated for the recon back in September, you need to advocate again. There's a lot of lobbying groups lobbying for different things. And there's a lot of people that have things that are in the recon that are lobbying to protect their items in the recon. The tow truck, the recon procedure, has passed over the finish line. The tow hitch, the recon substantive, has been added on to the tow truck. It's that recon that passed in that House subcommittee, but it ain't over the finish line. It ain't over the finish line until they get to the finish line. Get in that driver's seat of that tow truck, because remember, there's other drivers on that highway that are trying to get stuff into the recon as well and get it over the finish line and take part of that $3.5 trillion for themselves. Make sure you get every penny you can for this $3.5 trillion and to be dedicated to this family of this channel. Meantime, get the big money across the board unavailable under first, second, and third stimulus. And 3 messages which I deliver to this viewers every day is first, get this rent and utilities as far as you can into 2022. I have countless viewers who have now gotten their monies into 2022. Do that as well. Rent and utilities. Number 2, lean on the nonprofits. So get as much money as you can from the nonprofits right now. They have quick turnaround times at the moment, like St. Vincent de Paul and United Way for Rent. Big quick turnaround times. Do not wait to November, December, when it gets cold. Then their office banks really get flooded with phone calls. And finally, stay informed and stay here, because there's details breaking by the minute and by the hour. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto, then Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. Then we got Evenings Countdown at 6, Street and Stimulus at 7, and Sirloin at 8 o'clock. Subscribe. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.